Big old stimulus package happened in China today. Let's talk about it on Today in Mortgages. Hey, what's up, dreammakers? Welcome back to the show. We're talking about what's real, what's hype, and what you should actually be paying attention to out there in the world of real estate and mortgage news. It's Today in Mortgage. Rich, what do you say we go international today?
Let's do it.
China passed a stimulus package today for its economy. And so we're going to look at a couple of different things. But before we get there, Rich, I want to talk about some of the other things that can affect our mortgage rates here in the United States. And I pulled up an article from CBS News. It says 6 things that impact mortgage interest rates besides the Fed. So there were several things in here, Rich, but we don't have to go through all of these. We talk about some of them on the show before. What are the things outside of just the Fed and what the Fed did last week with rate cuts that are really moving the markets week to week?
Well, I think the number one factor is labor. When people aren't confident, like we had a consumer confidence report come out this morning, weaker than expected. People are worried. People are worried about jobs. In fact, ages 30 to 54 are the most worried about jobs. People that make $50,000 per year or less are the most worried about their job. And, these are big factors when it comes to interest rates, because when you've got people, consumers worried about jobs, they're not going to be spending as much. And oftentimes that brings demand down, which then brings interest rates down in the housing market. So, that's the one big factor. There are several that this article brought up. That's the biggest elephant in the room right now is the labor. And that's what the Fed is worried about too.
So, Rich, that's what's happening with labor here in the United States. Let's talk now about one of these factors that was on this CBS News list, and that is global economic trends. This article came out yesterday, and then this morning, all the news in my feed was about the stimulus package that happened in China. This is happening, obviously, over in China, but I just wanted to touch on it briefly today to see if you have an opinion on it and if there is any way that that could affect our markets here in the mortgage industry. So we pulled up another article, and this is from the Washington Post. China moves to boost ailing economy with property stimulus measures. Rich, did you look at this? Tell us briefly what it is, and then we'll talk about how it might affect us.
Yeah, I did read that article, and I've read several others, analyst takes on what's happening there. So one of the things that we talked about this morning was the Chinese economic stimulus. Now, they're having the opposite experience than we are in the States. They're deflationary, where we're struggling with inflation. They have zero demand or very little demand for housing, where we have so much demand. So what they're doing is lowering interest rates. They've actually knocked buildings down that were built to help build demand because they want people to buy homes there. So it's just so crazy that the two top economies in the world have the opposite issues. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, and they obviously took a different approach over there. Has been rampant overbuilding. We had an episode a while back about Evergrande and what that effect was, that they just built so much. There was so much investment into real estate property that just sat empty. And now we are realizing that real estate's really going to be deflated, like you're talking about, if people aren't wanting to buy what's being sold. So, Rich, is this likely to have any sort of effect on rates here in the United States, on economy here in the United States? I know maybe some market moves are happening in the stock market. But what about the mortgage markets?
Yeah, I don't really think that it's going to affect the mortgage markets too much. Like this morning, we opened down 10 basis points and now we've climbed up a bit. So, and we've seen the stock markets be up at open, then down, now slowly starting to correct. So we're just in a volatile time period right now. But I don't think this Chinese economic stimulus is really going to affect us much in terms of mortgage rates. They're talking about it affecting us with gas prices because oil jumped from, the low 60s to $72 a barrel. And that's in direct response to what's happening in China and, of course, non-wars that are happening, overseas.
Call it what you will, it definitely affects everything. So, well, we're talking about these things because that's what's happening in the world markets. We've had a lot of movement here in the domestic market, especially with the Fed making announcements last week, and maybe the result of that not being exactly what we expected with our own rates. But we feel like it's important to pay attention to all these factors so that we can be informed about what is actually moving these and what actually will affect what's going on in our rates. Your expertise is always appreciated, Rich. If you guys out there are interested in getting more expertise like this from Rich and other thought leaders in our company, click the grow link below and we'll get you all the information you need to know to be a part of the best network in mortgages. Rich, this has been interesting to me. The international markets and how that plays into what we deal with every day is always enlightening. Any final words you have on this or the CBS article that we looked at?
No, I would just ask everybody to track labor. That's really what's going to define the near interest rates. So keep an eye on that.
Good stuff, Rich. Well, thank you so much for helping me understand this. Thanks everyone out there for watching and listening. We will see you next time on Today in Mortgages. Today in Mortgages is produced by Network Funding LP, which is an equal housing lender, NMLS 2297. The content of this program is meant to be a commentary on mortgage and real estate news, and any discussion of rates and or products should not be taken as an individual mortgage or home buying advice or pricing estimates. And any commentary on this show should not be considered a promise to make a loan. All applicants for a loan must qualify, and you should consult a professional regarding your individual loan scenarios for your financial situation. Visit our website at nflp.com/licenses for all state licensing and other legal information.